Welcome back, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes, thank you. I'm very, very proud and happy to present the next student. David is been at the Global Jazz Institute not just this year for the master, but actually, if I well remember, you were in the class of 2017 in the undergrad, and he's been part of our family all these years, and so it's very beautiful to see you today presenting your C for your master degree. And let me read a little bit about David. David Suleiman is a multi-instrumentalist and arranger from Caimito, Puerto Rico. His style is the result of a lifetime of musical influences from various aspects of his Puerto Rican heritage, mainly the African rhythm. David graduated from Berklee in the undergrad in 2019 after being awarded a full scholarship from Berklee and the Latin Grammy Cultural Foundation. David present today the C name is Past and Future Never Present. I was his advisor, and we have the honor to have as his committee member, Maestro George Garzon. So please welcome David with a warm applause.
Thank you, Marco, for that. So good morning. Thank you for coming to my CE. The title is called Past and Future Never Present, Dismantling Stigmas and Raising Awareness Around Mental Health Struggles. And I like to get right to it. So these topics are uncomfortable but necessary, and that's why I wrote 4 tunes about it. And each of them encompass basically what I'm trying to convey into the whole presentation. And the first tune revolves around the stigma around mental health and the consequences about it. The second tune is called Coping Mechanisms, mainly humor. We'll talk more about it when we get to it. The third one's gonna called Addiction, and it's about substance abuse. And the fourth one and last one is the title of the CE, Past and Future but Never Present, which represents the 2 main problems with people that suffer from mental health, which are depression and anxiety. And I've put some statistics that we're gonna be able to look at while we listen to the music. So first of all, why is this important? Why are we talking about this now? Well, I think now more than ever, we need to be aware of mental health struggles in every day, given the fact of the recent pandemic. As you can see here, depression among adults in the United States tripled in the early 2020 months of the global COVID, jumping from 8.5 before the pandemic to 27.8. And that's a research from BU, a School of Public Health. And it went on through 2021, climbing to 32.8, which is literally a third of the US population. So these are topics that, because they're so stigmatized and they're so taboo, are not talked about frequently. And there is a danger in the stigma. And the danger is that if we don't talk about it, we can't acknowledge it, we can't find a solution for it. And my first tune revolves around that stigma, and it's called You Crazy. It's UCRA, You Cray. That's how I put it. And it's about that stigma when you talk about it with a friend and you go like, hey, so I have to go to my psychiatrist today because I had this appointment. And they suddenly give you like a look, they're like, oh, I didn't know you were, And it's kind of a stigma that doesn't revolve around other illnesses, because you wouldn't you wouldn't do that if someone was diabetic. I have to take my insulin today. But for mental health struggles, people just, for some reason, there's an underlying tone that apparently there's something wrong with you, or it's either wrong with you or it's your fault. So this is the first tune. And I tried to create a melody that was a little bit on the frenetic side. So it's. So one of the many consequences we have with the stigma about it is that because people don't feel that they have the resources to talk about it and to seek help, they often, the end result ends up being suicide, which certainly was the case for my uncle, Rafi, about 12 years ago when he took his own life. And Rafi was a person that always gave from himself and always was just a very giving person and very humorous. And what we did not understand at the moment is that he used humor as a coping mechanism, and he used to veil the sadness that was eating him inside. And that takes us to my next tune, which is called Coping Mechanisms. And what I did with this tune is the theme is a simple 30-bar tune, 32-bar tune that I wrote, but it's kind of like a serious topic, but then there's a counter melody, a response that has like a little humorous melody. And you're gonna hear it right now. And thank you. Um, and this the next tune I wrote is called Addiction, and is I chose to put it right after coping mechanisms because the statistics show that people tend to abuse from substance as a coping mechanism as well. And the way I wrote this tune was with a theme with kind of like ostinato like that was like almost like always hitting a wall that represents the relapse of the person that suffers from substance abuse. And you're going to be able to hear that melody and uh, check some statistics that I also have there. And that tune was called Addiction. And here are some other stats that I pulled up. So the last tune that I wrote was past and future, but never present, and they signify people that live in the past in an oversimplified way. It correlates to depression, and people that live ahead of the time, it correlates to anxiety, which are the two major problems in mental health. And the way I wrote this tune was I basically wrote a kind of like a melancholic melody, but at the same time I wrote it with every beat anticipated. So there's not a single downbeat throughout the whole melody. It's always anticipated by an eighth note. And that was past, future, but never present. And basically, what I try to conclude with this is that at the end of this, we don't really know the extent these stigmas create an impact, but I'm willing to spend my life figuring it out. And here are a couple of references. And I want to say thank you to Marco Pignataro, Danilo Perez, and all the BGJI staff. I want to say thank you to George Garzon, Rick DiMuzio, and all the wonderful musicians that played on my CE, Geraldo Ungi, Camila Stefano, Kira Moser, Nish, Raul, and Kenthony. And thank you for your time.
Bravo. Congratulations. Beautiful. Great. Okay, we're gonna go in the part of the questions and comments. Maestro Garzoni, you're gonna be the first one since you're our guest panel member. So I'm gonna pass the microphone to you. No.
Okay. Wow. Dave, great. First of all, you know, I've known you since the beginning when you first came to Berklee. And, you know, not to sidetrack, but to hear how you've improved as a saxophone player is astonishing. Sound, vibe, the whole thing's tremendous. You really did a lot with that. Amazing, you know. The project is tremendous. The thing I like about it the most is you're talking about the now, you know, what's happened to all of us. And, you know, that's pretty personal. And, you know, you really hit on a lot of points that I think a lot of people, sometimes they need to be refreshed mentally about, you know, what has happened and what's happening and what's going to happen. So, you know, this is a great project. And I really feel like it's a personal thing with you, too. That's the vibe I got. And the great thing is that you're not afraid to talk about that. That's the thing, to, you know, expel what you're feeling. But, man, tremendous. I'm very proud of you, my son.
David, I think we all share George Garzon's sentiment. We're really, really proud of you. And this was a phenomenal work that you dedicated this year. You came up with this idea. This was your first idea from the get-go. And you developed it in a very important way. I do agree with George. This is actually important, and to have this post-pandemic awareness of how much this is a real problem, and the stigma is really strong as never. And I like that you took, you know, a lot of your personal life and put it there with a lot of courage. I feel like I'm happy to hear that you want to continue, you know, working on that. I think that the next step may be starting to investigate more, you know, how music can be also a very important coping mechanism for sure. I'm sure that you are very aware of that personally as well. So that would be also very interesting to expand that research. In terms of the saxophone, to me, I mean, it's so beautiful to see how much you've grown, and your sound to me is fabulous, really. So congratulations. I don't have a question, just congratulations.
David, Wow. Victory. Yes, I'm very proud of you, man. Wow, so proud of you. And I must be sensing the emotions you're going through in this moment, going through this journey. So first of all, I already said a little bit of what I was going to say today, recognizing your journey, how much you have grown, how much you have accepted that struggles and victories are temporary in life, and how you're being a perfect example of how to manage yourself in the hardest time and find those moments to rise. And I think you rise from love, as Toni Morrison said. You rise from love, my brother. So I have some questions for you.
Yeah.
How this self-awareness has helped you make musical decisions?
Well, in terms of in the moment,
the whole presentation,
or in the of the compositions.
Yeah, overall.
So, like George said, that not being afraid to speak about it. When I decided that speaking about it was necessary, that's when I got to write the tunes and make a very. I didn't go very much in depth, but every single tune is based on a personal experience with the subject at hand. But maybe I don't understand your question well.
Yes, for example, I noticed C minor tonality. I
Yeah.
mean, there's any relationship to the topic. Everything seems minor. Could you address some of the musical choices you made based on the realization you had?
Yeah. So the what I did was kind of the way I started writing was by having ideas. It was actually an idea that Marco gave me when I was kind of stuck and I couldn't write. I would like reflect on the topic, and ideas and melodies would like pop out, but they weren't very connected. And then I started working very consciously on connecting ideas or taking that little one idea that I had. That being said, as far as like tonalities and like minors, I just naturally kind of gravitate towards that sounds. So I wouldn't say that it has a lot to do with the awareness of but that's more of a kind of what I gravitate towards to the sounds when I'm like with the horn and the piano writing. I wanted to do more statements, more than the tonalities. It was more about the melodies and how they, like the addiction one, that is kind of like this ostinato thing, and then the bass is also doing an ostinato, kind of like 1 and 1 diminish, but the chord is 1 and 2 7, which is the same thing. And so I didn't really, as far as tonality, it was more like a gravitational towards it, a gravitational pull that I feel towards it. But I didn't consciously said, let me do all of them minor because I'm talking about depression. that wasn't the case. It was more how they came out.
The one thing musically, I think the bass and the addiction that needs work. It's a little boomy, some of the mixes needs work and stuff like that. You sound amazing. Just grown so much. Congratulations. I'm really, 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 really proud of your journey, and thank you for trusting us.
Thank you.
All right. Love and blessings.